Hey folks, Eric Bray, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock Lake. It is Tuesday, April the 4th. I've been on the water a bunch and the fishing is getting good. The fish are absolutely moving. There's no way around that. These fish are moving and they're moving fast. As far as our lake level is concerned, we're at a 911.6 as of right now. We're still coming up. Got a bunch of rain forecast for tonight and tomorrow, so hopefully that'll mean lake will come up a little bit more. Hopefully we can get enough water to get the lake filled up. I know some of the guys at the Corps were talking, they've got a new turbine they're bringing online, or rebuild a turbine or something, and they're going to probably be testing it, so they will be running some water over the next few days, but hopefully they'll get that done and let the lake come back up, get a little bit closer to pool. As far as our water temperature is concerned, throughout the main lake, you're looking at about 57, 58 degrees is pretty much an average. Getting the backs of some of the creeks, you'll find 59, 60. You get in some of the dirtier creeks, the back of Ants Creek. You get in the back of Trace Hollow, the back of Big Indian. You get in the back of Big Creek. On a sunny day like today, you'll find 63, 64 degrees. Up the Kings, you'll find in the 60s, and even up the James, you'll find it low 60s, 60, 61. Bright sunny day, no wind. That water's going to come up even more. And in turn, that's made the fish move. They are flat moving right now. If you guys are coming down, maybe you're going to fish the lower end of the lake. Talk about the spawn a little bit. I would say that's probably where the spawn is the furthest away, unless you were to go up into Long Creek, up around to about the Arkansas state line or above, and I think they're a lot further along up there. You'll see a few cruisers if you get back in some of the pockets. A lot of the spawning pockets, you'll see a lot of males cruising the banks. I think maybe I've seen 2 or 3 beds made, but the fish aren't on them. They're not locked on. These are the early spawners, mostly Kentuckys. They move up, they make beds. Anything happens, they pass right back off. Nothing spawned yet. Most of the fish we're catching are on points, secondary points, either on the point or just inside of the point. If you get a front that pushes through, it'll push them to the outside of the point. But for the most part, they're on or just inside the points, working their way back into the pockets, getting back in there, getting really close to spawn. Probably, if the water stays warm, we don't get anything crazy weather-wise. If those Kentuckys don't spawn this weekend, they'll spawn the early part of next week. Smallmouth are going to be right there with them, and the largemouth won't be far behind. As far as techniques, patterns, whatever, basically fishing a couple of different patterns down there. When it's windy, doing really good with a Kitech swim bait, especially the smaller swim bait, the 2.8. Impact Fat has been probably my best swim bait in sexy shad or any of the more shad, a little bit brighter shad type colors. Putting that on a 1/4 ounce swim jim head and basically looking for those fish to be on those secondary points suspended. If you get wind pushing shad up on there, it's an even better bite. Catching a lot of fish doing that. If you don't have wind, if you have a calm sunny day like we've got today, you're much better off backing off a little bit, keeping the boat about 18 to 20 feet deep and targeting that 10 to 20 foot range with either a jewel squirrel head, a Ned rig, a Bass Pro tender tube, or even a split shot rig. A lot of those fish that are staging out on those points, if you've got wind, you've got a little bit of cloud cover, they'll move up, they'll suspend, they'll get a little tighter to the bank. Sun, no wind, they back off, and they're hanging on those ledges and on those mixed rock and gravel points leading into those spawning pockets. Those have been my best 2 bites down on the dam, either the swing fat or fat impact or the jewel squirrel head matched up with either a beaver or finesse worm or something like that, or a split shot rig or a Bass Pro tender tube. Come down here in Kimberling City, the bite doesn't change all that much, but the fish are a little bit further along. Seeing a lot more cruisers, a lot more, I guess, preliminary beds by spotted bass down here in the Kimberling City area. Most of them in those gravel pockets, back into the creek arms, back in these little pockets like the pocket behind me. You'll find several fish. They're not locked on the beds yet. They haven't spawned yet, but they are up there cruising. They are up there making beds. If you want to target those cruisers, your best bet is a weightless UV Anko, either rig Texas rig or wacky style. throw it out there where you're seeing the cruisers and just let it sink on a semi-slack line, and watch your line because those fish will grab it and swim off with it. That's been a good bite. If you're not interested in the cruisers so much, back off of those points. You get a windy day. Again, the Kitech Impact Fat has been really, really good. 2.8, catching a few more on a 3.3 or even a 3.8 up here. Still doing it just on the Jewel Swim Gem head. Not really using the underspin as much as we were, say, 2-3 weeks ago. Catching a lot of them on those points, leading back into the pockets, especially if you've got wind on it. Keeping the boat in about 18 to 25 foot deep, throwing it up there and letting it sink about a 5 to a 10 count, and just working it back in slow has been my best bite when the wind's blowing or when the fish seem to be suspended. Calm days like we had today, we threw the swim bait a little bit this morning, but did a lot better. Backing back off, keeping the boat in about 20 to 25 foot of water, throwing up into 10 to 15, 10 to 20, and using either a Jewel squirrel head, using a Ned rig, using the Bass Pro tender tube, and even a few on a split shot. The split shot's really going to start to play here over the next couple of weeks. You're going to hear me talk about them a lot more. You're going to see a lot more fish coming on a split shot. It seems like that bait works extremely well when you're targeting those pre-spawn and post-spawn females. So keep a split shot in the back of your mind if you're in the Kimberling City area this weekend. Go up in the James, and like I said, the water up the James is probably the warmest water we've got on the lake, with the exception of maybe the Kings River or maybe way up Long Creek. A lot of warm water, a lot of colored water. It's not really muddy until you get way up there, getting back to some of the creeks after a fresh rain. It's just got a good stain to it, and that's brought those fish up shallow. Doing really well with a jig up there. Jewel Pro Spider Jig's been a really strong bait up there, around laydowns, around wood, around stumps, around the areas where these fish are going to move in and spawn on. Been doing really well with the Jewel Pro Spider Jig. Doing well with the swim bait up there as well when the wind's blowing. Doing well with the spinner bait too. As far as the swim bait, using the Kitech Impact Fat 2.8, 3.3 has been a little bit better size up there. 3.8 has been a pretty good size. Again, just throwing it on an open hook on the swim gem head from Jewel. Quarter ounce has been the best one. The fish really aren't deep enough to throw much heavier of a head. If you throw a much heavier head, you've got to work it too fast to get those fish to really chase it, or it's going to get down too deep and get into the moss. And then, of course, all those other baits. The shaky head, the Jewel squirrel head's been working really good up there. The Bass Pro tender tube, Ned rig, all those baits are working on those points leading into those spawning pockets. Fish are cruising up there. A lot of fish cruising. You want to target those cruising fish just like you do down here in the Kimberling City area. A weightless UV Yanko is a great way to do it. Not really catching that many on a fluke yet. I think that's going to be more of a post-spawn bite, but catching a lot of them on a weightless UV Yanko. Texas rig. I like the Texas rig it up there, up the James, just because there's so much wood trash in the water. I can throw it up next to a laydown and not worry about it hanging up as bad as if you wacky rig it. But there's a lot of fish cruising, starting to make beds, starting to see a lot of fish on those false beds again. They're not spawned yet, but they are making beds. They are trying to track the females and trying to get the spawn moving right along. Go up the White River, and the White River continues to be a fun arm to fish. Still catching a lot of fish up the White River. Further down, closer to Baxter, it seems like the fish aren't nearly as far along on the spawn as they are when you get closer to the Kings, get above Shell Knob. Seems like those fish are moved along quite a bit far. Baxter area, you are going to see fish cruising. No way around it. You will see a few false beds. By this weekend, you'll probably see quite a few beds up there. Most of those are going to be Kentuckys. Most of them are going to be smaller males, building nests, trying to attract females. But nothing spawned yet up there as well. Want to hit those cruisers? Again, UV Yanko, throwing it weedless around those cruisers. Throw it out, semi-slack line, let it float down. Hits the bottom, reel it up, bring it towards you a little bit, let it fall back down. There's a lot of cruising fish up there. You'll catch a lot of fish doing that. Probably not a lot of keepers, but you will catch a lot of fish on a weightless UV Yanko right now. Catching them on a swim bait as well when the wind's blowing. Throwing that Kitech Impact Fat. 2.8's been a really good size up there, especially on the lower portion of the White, around the Baxter area up to about Shell Knob. Keying on those secondary and main lake points leading in the spawning pockets. Keeping the boat 20 to 25 feet deep. Throwing it up there, letting it sink 5 to 10 seconds and just reeling it in on moderate retrieve. Again, using the Jewel Swim Gem head. Quarter ounce has been my best weight. matching that up with the Kitech and just working it over top of those fish where they're suspended. No wind, sunny day like we've got today, same deal. Throw the jewel squirrel head, match that up with either a finesse worm, a zoom speed craw, a UV beaver, any of those baits on that squirrel head have been working. The Magnum shaky head's been working up there as well, especially the 5/16. Not necessarily the real big one, 5/16's been working up there. Been catching a lot of fish on a spider jig up there too, just working it on those same secondary points where these fish are staged up. Seems like I'll catch a little bit better fish on a jig versus the shaky head. More bites on the shaky head, but get a lot better fish on the jig, matched up with the zoom speed craw as well. Tube's working, Bass Pro tender tube, a lot of bites on a tender tube. And if you're just looking for bites, get up there on those secondary points, gravel and gravel mixed with rock. Throw a Ned rig. A lot of fish being caught on a Ned rig right now, up and around, all the way up the White River. Doesn't matter from Baxter all the way above Shell Knob. Get on those gravel points leading in those spawning pockets. You'll catch a lot of fish on a Ned rig. Great way to take a kid fishing right now because he's going to get bit a lot. You're going to catch a lot of fish. Guys, it's the first week of April and it's beautiful out. I've actually got this sweatshirt on because it was cloudy when I started filming this. Now the sun's out and it's warmed up quite a bit. It's about 70 degrees. Got some rain coming in later, like I said, but it's beautiful out. Awesome time to come fishing. We are just getting started on the best time of the year to fish. These are when we start having those 50, 100 fish days you hear guys talking about. Smallmouth have moved up. Spots have moved up. Spots are already starting to build nests. We caught several largemouth today. Had a couple of nice largemouth today on his jewel squirrel head. So the fish are moving up. They're getting ready to spawn. They're getting ready to bite. Topwater bite is probably 2 weeks away where we start catching them on topwater for most of the day. It's a great time to come down and fish over through April, through May. May especially. May is probably my favorite time of the year to fish. You can catch them shallow all day long. Doesn't matter. You don't have to be out first thing in the morning. If you want to catch them on topwater, you probably do. But if you just want to catch fish all day long, come down in May. They're always biting in May, and they're post-spawn, and they're very aggressive. They're feeding back up before they move deep. But guys, if you're thinking about coming down, wanting to hire a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. Hit my website, focusfishing.com. Shoot me an email or book online. Either way, we'll get back to you within 12 hours, let you know if your dates and times are available. But really appreciate you guys watching the videos. Gosh, we're getting almost 3,000 views a week, which is outstanding. Appreciate you guys subscribing to the videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, please take a minute or two to subscribe so you get the updates when we post a new video. We have to do it late like we did last week or early like we did the week before. You'll get updated if you subscribe. So please subscribe if you have a minute. I really appreciate you guys watching the videos. Thanks for watching. I can't wait to hear from you. Take you out fishing. We'll see you on the water.